Hi, everybody. We're going to start. We are going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. This is a software walkthrough, meaning I'm going to do a tax return from beginning to end. It is a simple W-2 tax return with a 1099 NEC, Schedule C attached, just simple. I'm doing this so we can give you guys an understanding of what's changed this year, to answer any questions that you guys have if you're going through the tax return, and just to show you how easy it is to put a tax return in through the software. If you have been doing taxes with us for a while, in the software for a while, then it may be a little redundant for you, but there's a lot of, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but there's little minor changes throughout the software, so a lot of this information may be helpful. We're going to start here in just a couple of minutes, so you guys get ready, and we'll get started in a minute.
Questions.
All right, guys. There's still a lot of people joining, so we're going to give them 3 more minutes, and we're going to get going. Again, like Dave said, IRS official opening date is on January the 24th. However, we do participate in hub testing. Hub testing official dates are the 18th, 19th, and 20th. That's on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Please keep in mind that some of your returns may get accepted. Some of them may not go through. It is a testing period. Small batches are sent, so you may get some accepted returns. You may get some that still say transmitted. You may get some that say rejected. Usually during hub testing, they transmit from the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. They do not transmit or send anything after hours, and nothing is done on the weekends. So if you offer cash advances, you'll be able to do in-season cash advances on the 18th, 19th, and 20th. If you do mark those for in-season advances, then remember you won't get a decision until that return has been acknowledged by the IRS, accepted. So we're going to do this in 2 minutes, and we're going to get started. All right, so then you log in. Once you log in, what you're going to do is you're going to see your main menu. Everybody's is going to look different when they log in, depending on your security template that you have set or that your office has set for you. When you log in, on the left-hand side, everybody should see the same thing. You have your intake forms, your prepare due diligence, how to upload compliance documents if you're a feeder office, the NTO Help Center, where we have a lot of helpful videos, technical support. If you need us to help you with something inside your software, you'll click here. Once you call into support, you'll click here. We'll give you the support key, and then we'll be able to see your screen to help you whatever's going on. And then the refund calculator is going to be right here. Now, any messages that are ever sent out, if your return was marked for review and it's been past review or it's been failed, you'll get a message in the message center telling you the return's been approved or the return's been failed, and this is where the failed reason will be. The failed reason is no longer at the end of the return like in previous years. The failed reason will be in your message center. What I would like to note to everyone is, even if you do not mark returns for review, if you send me or Dave or anyone that works for NTO a message through the message center, please make sure that you include who you are. Sometimes it's hard. The software takes a while and we can't see who's sending the message. We can only see your username, and some of you guys have lots of preparers in your office, so we don't know who's messaging us. So please make sure you put the office name that you're with in the message. That way we know how to respond accordingly. Your rejected clients are also going to be right here, and then you'll have a list of other options here. But today, we're going to do a tax return. So to start a tax return, I am going to pull up the intake forms for this person. Well, not the income forms right now, but we're going to pull up the intake forms. So this is the customer's intake forms. This is how I would prepare a tax return. You guys have your own offices. Your process is different. But for this, we're going to use what I do, okay? So we're going to click on Start New Tax Return. Here, you're going to put in the social of the taxpayer twice. And then you're going to click Start Return. You're going to get this question that says, make sure you get your 7216 consent to use tax return information signed before starting the tax return. And then you're going to be brought inside the return. As you guys can see, none of this information is filled out because we're doing it together. We're doing it today live here. This particular taxpayer is a married filing joint tax return. So we're going to click on married filing joint. If I did not know which filing status would be best, I could click on the filing status wizard. It would ask me a few questions and it would help me determine which filing status is the best for this taxpayer situation. Then you're going to click continue. And here we're going to enter in the taxpayer's information. Okay. Yeah, I can't spell. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is you go through this checklist. If any of this applies to your taxpayer, especially this year in the 2021 tax year for filing the 2021 tax return, you can still elect to use that 2019 earned income to figure their 2021 earned income credit or the child tax credit. But for this taxpayer, we're not doing that. Married filing joint, of course, you're going to put the dependent's name. Spouse's name. I said dependent. Spouse's name. Thank you, Dave. See, he's good for a lot of stuff, you guys, I promise. And then she is going to be self-employed. And then, of course, you're going to go through the checklist for the spouse as well. Here you're going to put in their address. Their address is going to be 123. All right. And then they're going to have 2 phone numbers. If they are doing a bank product tax return, they have to have 2 phone numbers here. If you only put in one, then they will not qualify for a bank product. Cash advance, pre-act cash advance, any type of bank product, you have to have 2 phone numbers in here. Once you have completed this section, you're going to click continue. From here, it's going to ask you, do we have any qualifying dependents? We're going to look at our intake form, and it looks like we have 2 here. So we're going to type in that information. And then we're going to type in the social. And then we're going to answer these questions. Was the individual a citizen? Yes. What is their relationship? This is their son. How many months did they live with the taxpayer? And then you go to this checklist to see if any of these apply to this dependent. So once you complete it, you'll click continue. And then you'll be brought to this screen. And then here, if you have more than one dependent, you'll click right here at the top left to add another dependent or qualifying child. We'll put in that second one. And then we'll put in the social. And then again, we're going to answer those questions. Was a citizen, relationship is daughter, and then go through the checklist again to see if anything applies. Once you've done that, you'll click continue. And as you can see, based on our intake form, there are no more dependents, so we're going to click continue. Both of the dependents are still alive, so we don't need to upload any death certificate. If they have an IRS identity protection pin, we would put that here, but they do not, so we're going to click continue. And then we're going to be brought to income. So for this income, we have W-2. So we're going to start with the W-2. You're going to see some stuff is already checked. If this needs to be changed, you can always change it. Select what you need to. Select who the W-2 is for. Then you're going to input the information. Then you're going to put the employer's name. Then you're going to put the employer's address. Then you're going to go down here and you're going to put in the information from the boxes, right? So box 1 says $19,856. You don't have to put in cent. You can put cent in if you want. If it is 2 cents, it's going to be rounded down to the nearest dollar. If it's over 50 cents, it's going to be rounded up to the nearest dollar. So it's up to you if you put the cent in or not. Just make sure if you're not that you round it up or down to the nearest dollar. Federal income tax withheld is going to be this. And then, as you can see, box 3 and box 5 are already filled out. On all W-2s, it's not the same. Most W-2s will have the same amounts in box 3 and 5 as is already in box 1, but it varies. So make sure that you're confirming that these amounts are the same. Make sure that you're confirming that these amounts are the same as well. So then you would go down and you would add any state information on this return. Well, on this return there is a state, so we're going to put that in here. And then you're going to make sure the state wages match. Then you're going to put in the amount of state tax that they paid, any local wages, local tax paid, the local name, put that here. So then here we'll be able to continue if there isn't any more W-2s, or you can save and enter another. So if you save and enter another, what's going to happen is we're brought back to that screen and we'll basically start the process over, right? So we're going to select it. We're going to click. We're going to put who it is, ice cream shop. And they are at 789 Employer Lane. And then we're going to do the same for box 1. And then box 2 is the tax they paid. And then we're going to make sure that the amounts in 3 and 5 match. Everything matches up properly. And then we're going to go down again. Sometimes you will have somebody that has an amount, has an X in retirement or has a code. They have more than one code. You'll put the first code right here at 12A. You'll put the code and then the amount, and you can add another row, and you'll be able to add rows until you've put everything in. And that goes the same for box 14 as well. But back to the state. And then we are going to be done with the W-2. We're going to move on to the 1099. So we're going to click continue. What did I do? Oh, I think I put something wrong. Hold on, let me go back in here and fix this. I put something in here. Oh, I did not. Sorry. Okay, we're going to change it. Continue. All right. So next, we're going to go on to the income. Now, this is where you would add in any 1099-Gs that you have if they had state refund, if they had a 1099 for interest, dividends, or any other distributions, if they have a 1099-R, which is for retirement, SSA for Social Security, or if they had any annuities or IRAs. The 1099-G with an amount in box 1 is for the unemployment. As you all know, for the tax filing year of 2021, all unemployment is taxable. There is no tax break this year, so all unemployment compensation should be filed here, and all of those amounts are taxable. Now, the 1099 miscellaneous is right here. As we know, starting last year, Any self-employment income is not claimed on a 1099 miscellaneous any longer. It is claimed on a 1099 NEC. So that's what we're going to be filling out today for the purpose of this video. Once you get in here, it's going to ask who is the 1099 NEC for. And as we can see, it is for the spouse. We're going to type in the payer's name. We're going to type in the payer's address. And then it's going to ask the payer, use the payer's Social Security number as the ID unless they have a EIN. And as you can see, they have one, so we're going to put it in right here. And then this information right here will be filled out based on what you selected right here. So the recipient information is filled out. If there's an account number on this 1099, you would put it in here. And then you'll see box 1 is the non-employee compensation. So we're going to put the amount received on that. And then if there was any federal income tax withheld, we would put it here. And then if there is any state information, which is rare, you would put it in here. Once you've entered it, you're going to press continue. And then you're going to be brought to this screen asking you where you want to carry this income to. Do you want to carry this income to a Schedule C for business income, or do you want to carry it to a Schedule F if it's farming income? So in most situations, not all, because we do have some people that do farming income, you'll carry it to the Schedule C. You'll click continue. And then here, you're going to fill out some information. Now, this information is about the taxpayer or the spouse's business. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the intake form. We're going to go to the Schedule C form. And then based on, again, this is how I do it. This is not how you do it. And it may not be the right way to do it. This is how I do it. So I'm going to look at the Schedule C form. I'm going to go by what the taxpayer has told me on the intake form. As I can see, they left no business name. They left this blank. They're not using an EIN. The address must be the same as their home. And these are questions that I would ask them as I'm doing them. Now, when we get here, it's going to ask for a business type. You have to put something in here. So what I do is I click on here, and then I start searching for something to do with what this person does, right? So they are in retail sales. So I'm going to go look and see, what I can find, what matches closest to them. They do. So this is what I'm going to do because these people are a miscellaneous retailer of many products. So we're going to do all other miscellaneous retail stores. They don't sell any of this other stuff. This is the best fit for them. So we're going to click here. And as you can see, the description of the business is already entered in for me. Once I select here, I'm going to click continue. And then we're going to be brought to this page. Now, what I always tell people, especially people that are not familiar with the software, maybe this is your first year with the software, or maybe you're a preparer working for someone else and it's your first year with the software. I tell people if you're not familiar with the Schedule C section to scroll to the bottom and click right here where it says Restart Schedule C Guide. Now, if you click on this, what it's going to do, and I'm just going to take you in here just to show you. So if you click on this, it's going to take us back to this page, right? We're going to start back here, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to click continue. But then it's going to take us to questions about the business. So it's going to take us all the way inside, and it's going to take us step by step, basically like an interview mode, to make sure that you're not skipping over anything and you're not missing anything. So you'll fill out these questions based on your customer's business setup and how they operate their business, and then you'll click continue. Then once you do that, it's going to ask you some more questions. Let's begin. Did your business make any money? So then you'll select yes or no, or you can go back. So this will just keep taking you step by step through the Schedule C. But since I know what we're doing, we're just going to go through the way that I know. Okay? So on this Schedule C, as you can see, they do have some expenses. So we're going to go down to the general expenses. Under advertising, it looks like they have some social media expenses. So I don't type the totals here. I always click on the blue boxes because I like to be very detailed, especially in making sure that I'm doing my due diligence and that I'm being compliant. The more information that you provide will always help you in the tax preparer in case of an audit. So I always type in what advertising was spent on. So if they spent Facebook ads, and IG ads, so I would type that in here. And then I would put the amount. And then if they did, now this person only did this type of marketing, right? That's all they put. So, but if they did TV or if they did radio, then I would add a line for each one. So I'd add advertising, and then I would type in whatever it was and that amount. I'd split all the amounts up. And then what would happen is, sorry, we got kicked out because I did something crazy. Sorry. So what would happen is once you added all of your advertising in, that total would come here. Now, as you can see, there's a red circle through here saying you can't adjust this total. So if I needed to adjust it, I would just click on the blue and I would go in and make my adjustment. So the next would be the contract laborer. Any of these expenses that your customer has based off of the intake form that they've completed. We're going to go down to where it says on this one, office expense. This was the rent on their office that they paid for the rental, the rent on their building. So we're going to put that here. Make sure that you're telling your clients that anything that they take off as an expense, they may have to provide proof for. I always have my customers bring in all of the receipts, bank statements, credit card statements, whatever they have showing that the expense was paid out. That way I can note it in their file to ensure that I'm doing my due diligence, and that way if there is a audit, I will be able to cover myself, right? So that's always a good thing to do. Next would be the supplies. And I'll just show you what you could do. So for this person, they just did miscellaneous supplies. So you can always type in the full amount here. Like I said, I just like to type on the blue and put in more specific detail. Next would be meals. Utilities. They paid utilities of $1,500. They didn't say what the utilities were, so I'm just going to put it here. And then once you've entered in all the expense, you're going to click continue. Now, once you click continue, you'll be able to go through and do any depreciation, any other expenses that were not listed on here on the general expenses. Sometimes customers have other expenses that don't fit in any of those categories under the general expense. So this is where you would come, and what it does is it just gives you a blank page where you can type in your description and the amount. Now, then you will have, like I said, car and truck expense, depreciation, qualified business income deduction, expenses for the business use of your home, and then again, you have that Restart Schedule C guide. So once you have entered in your complete Schedule C and put everything in for your business, your taxpayer's business, then you'll click continue. Now, once we click continue, it's going to tell us, do we want to add another Form 1099 NEC? If this person receives several 1099s, then you'll be able to add another one in. And what you'll do when you add another one in, it's going to ask you, do you want to carry this 1099 NEC to the Schedule C that you already have created? Well, what would make you want to do that? If they receive several 1099 NECs for the same business, then of course you want to put them all on the same Schedule C. If they are multiple business owners, say they have a cleaning business and they have a tax preparation business, they both have two different EINs, they both have two different expenses, and they both get two different 1099 NECs. Well, then you want to create a new Schedule C for the second business and put that 1099 income for that business and that Schedule C. All businesses, just because you have multiple businesses, they all don't go on one Schedule C together. You're supposed to have a separate Schedule C for every business that you own. Then it's going to bring you back to the income. You'll be able to go down if you have any of the supplemental loss, capital gains, profit or loss from farming, any alimony, if you have any gambling winnings, cancellation of debt, you'll be able to go here. Also, if a customer brings you in a form and you're on this page and you don't see the form and you're trying to figure it out, you can always type in form numbers right here in this form finder, and I'm just going to type in something just so you'll see. So as you start typing, you can see that I typed in 1099 back here, and everything with a 1099 pops up. You can click on whatever it is, and it'll take you directly to that form so you can complete it. So once we've completed the income, we're going to click continue. Once we do that, it's going to take us to this deductions page. Here you'll find adjustments if you have any educator expenses, if you have medical savings accounts, any student loan interest. The standard deduction is always going to be what's chosen automatically until you get here and then you go to their Schedule A, and if they've completed their Schedule A, then they will have all of these deductions. Remember that their itemized deductions must total more than their standard deduction amount in order for the itemized deductions to help them. So what happens is you can do compare deductions after you enter in their itemized, and it'll tell you which one is better for them to take, which is going to have the most benefit for the taxpayer. Will it be standard or itemized? In most situations, it's standard, especially recently since they've increased the standard amounts. Most people, like if you're head of household and you have your head of household, it's got to be over like 18.5, so that's a lot of money. Most people aren't spending out on medical and stuff more than 18.5. Now next, you're going to want to go to your credits menu. Here you'll click begin, and on this you're going to see a whole list of forms. So let's start at the top, the recovery rebate. Let's go back to our intake form and see what our taxpayer completed. So based on our taxpayer's intake form, it looks like they did receive the stimulus. So we're going to click yes, and then they've totaled it up. I always look at the amounts that they put, and then in my head or on my screen where they can't see me, I'll add these amounts to make sure that what they added and what the math is right, because a lot of times taxpayers have inconsistencies, so you want to make sure that you're clarifying it. So for this taxpayer, we have $5,600. Oh, and remember, the third stimulus was $1,400 per person. So that means for every taxpayer and every dependent, they got $1,400. If they did not receive any payment, then you could put no here. Now the next is going to be the child care credit. We're going to go down here. We're going to go to our child care form. And as you can see, this taxpayer did pay some daycare. So we're going to go here. And on here, what you're going to do is you're going to want to go to step 1. And you're going to add in the child care provider. For this one, they've used the social. So we're going to put in the social for the person that watched the child. Oh, sorry, I'm putting in the wrong social. And then we're going to put in who cared for the person. So it doesn't have to be a business. It can be a person. Now, just remember that whoever provided the child care will have to claim whatever income that you're reporting that you paid them on their tax return. So make sure that poor Samantha knows that you're telling the IRS that you paid her, okay? Then it's going to ask for the provider's address. We're just going to say Child Care Lane. And we're going to say 27103. And then we're going to scroll down and it's going to ask, how much did you pay to this provider? Well, this provider, we're going to put that we paid $7,900 because that's what the taxpayer has completed. Now, remember, if you're in California, you have to provide a phone number. Now, what do we do from here? On the second step, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to click this little down box, and then it's going to give you the qualifying dependents that work that qualify for the child care expense. So what you'll do is you'll click on this pencil, and from this pencil you're going to go in and it's going to say how much did you pay for this dependent. Now for this one we only had one dependent, so we paid the full $7,900 on this dependent. If you have multiple dependents that you paid child care for, they would all be listed here. What you would do is put in the amount paid to the provider per dependent. You just have to make sure that the total expense and the total amount paid to providers ends up matching. So make sure if you paid $7,900, the total amount paid to providers matches the $7,900. If you had disabled or elderly dependent living with you that you had to pay expense for someone sitting with them or taking care of them while you were working, then you would see that qualifying person's names here, and you would do the same thing, put in the amount that you paid for that person. Now next you're going to go to page 2, and from here, now this page usually doesn't apply to a lot of taxpayers, but you will want to look if there is an exception, like if they're fully disabled or if they're a full-time student who are unable to work, then you will need to fill out some of this information. So make sure that you go over this page with your taxpayers on a case-by-case basis. Make sure that you answer all of these questions. If you are married filing separately, you are able this year in 2021 to still be able to take this credit. You will have to answer these questions, so make sure that you read these questions, even if your client is married filing separately, because they could be considered unmarried for purposes of filing this credit, even though their filing status is married filing separate. Then you're going to click continue, and then we're going to click continue again. Now, next would be any education credits. If they filled out that form, the student acknowledgement form, or if they brought in a 1098-T, you have to have a 1098-T present and acknowledge that you have that 1098-T and enter in that information in order to electronically file a tax return that has a 1098-T credit on it. Then you want to go through any adoption credit, any sick leave. If they have the sick leave, Form 7202, they're able to take that this year as well. You would click begin and you would walk through that step by step. Keep in mind that 7202 does ask for information from a line basis from their 2020 tax return. So make sure that if you're doing the 7202 this year for your client, that you have their 2020 tax return in front of you when you're doing it. It's very self-explanatory to ask you the questions. It tells you the line number. You look at the line number. You enter the amount. Next will be let's see, you can do, some of this stuff you don't have to do right now, but you can just go through it all if you would like. The advanced child tax credit, let's do that. This is a little different. So it's going to ask, did you or your spouse, if married, filing joint, have a principal place abode in the United States for more than half of the year? Why did they have to use that terminology? Just, did you or your spouse, you and your spouse live in the United States more than half the year? Was your house in the U.S.? So yes. Then it's going to ask about the amount that they received in advance. So starting in July of last year, there were payments sent out that were advanced child tax credit payments. Most people receive these once a month, and if your child was over the age of 5, then you usually receive $250. If it was under 5, then you receive $300. So, and then some people didn't receive anything. So whatever your taxpayer filled out on page 1 of the intake form, or better than that, is the IRS mails out this form 6419. They mailed out this letter. This letter will include all of the amounts, the total amount of monthly payments that they received If they don't have it, I suggest telling the client to go log into their IRS account, their ID.me account. That will show the total amount of the payments that they received. If they couldn't do the ID.me, then I would suggest telling them to give you a bank statement so you can go through and look. I will tell you that if these amounts are claimed inaccurate or reported wrong, this will delay your client's refund in at least a 6 to 8 week term. We do know that. IRS has already said if you put these amounts in wrong or you lie or you misclaim, then you can expect delays 6 to 8 weeks. So we know 6 to 8 weeks usually turns into 12 to 24 weeks. So make sure that for all credits, stimulus money, child care, advanced child tax credit, you're putting in correct and accurate amounts, because the IRS is going to go back and fact check this. And it goes for the 2019 earned income as well. Make sure that you're putting in the right amounts, because your returns will be delayed if you don't. So this taxpayer said, and this is also what I do, I also look at what they wrote right here, and then in my head or on my calculator, I do some calculating, right? So they're supposed to receive $500 every month for 6 months. So that's $3,000. So that's what I put in. It makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, you're supposed to ask questions. That's what doing your due diligence is. If something doesn't add up, you need to go the extra mile to ask the question to make it add up. And then if this amount right here, if this amount did not add up, then what I would probably do is I would write a statement right here that said taxpayer miswrote total amount after looking over the bank statements. We confirmed that it was this amount, just so it's noted on the intake document. Now, once you do that, you're going to click Save. Then you're going to click Continue. And then we're done with this credits menu, so we're going to click Continue again. As you can see, we're going to be done with the deductions. My people didn't do anything on the Schedule C. If they did have any cash contributions, you could put those there, but we're going to click Continue. Then it's going to ask about some other taxes. If they have any of these taxes, then we would need to put this on here. Then it's going to ask about any payments and estimates. Was there any other state estimated payments, other federal withholdings? Do you need to did they make advance tax payments? Are they doing an extension? Are they paying an amount with an extension? Do they want vouchers to make estimated tax payments for the 2022 tax year? So that's where all this is going to be found. And then you click Continue when you're done with that. And then it's going to give us a list of miscellaneous forms. These forms are the most uncommon forms. This is where your injured spouse form is going to be. This is where if you are claiming a refund for a deceased taxpayer, if you're doing an extension. Again, the IRS identification PIN, you can also put it in here. If they are doing a W-7 application here, if you need to put any explanations, if you want to prepare notes, an explanation, anything, you can do that here. And then once you're done, you'll click Continue. And then as you can see, there's a whole COVID relief section. We've already went through the advanced child tax credit, the recovery credit, rebate credit, and then there's a 7202 if you need to fill that out. There's a second spot for you so you don't miss it. Now we're going to click Continue, and it's going to ask about health insurance. Do we have health insurance, Obamacare, or healthcare.gov? You'll click yes if they did, no if they don't. If they did, they receive that 1095A. Your 1095A has to be reported. If you try to file a tax return without the 1095A, one, it will get rejected, more than likely saying that it's missing it. But two, if it does get accepted, the return is not going to fund. They're going to mail out a letter and say, we can't fund this return until you add that 1095A in. Then the 1095A is probably going to adjust the refund amount, and it's going to delay the tax return. So make sure to ask your clients, did you have the Obamacare? Did you purchase your health insurance from the marketplace? And answer these questions truthfully, and then put the amounts properly. If they had Medicaid or if they had employer-based insurance, they don't have to put anything. They just put no, and then you press continue like I did. And as you can see, it tells us now that our federal return is complete. Here, we'll be able to add a state return if we choose, or we can go back to the federal section, or we can continue to the summary page. Not there. So once we get here, you're going to see a summary of everything. You can see line by line, page by page. Remember, I don't trust anything. I don't trust this. I don't trust this. I look at everything on the view print. But once you look over everything, you can do a prior year comparison. If you used the software last year and this taxpayer filed with you last year, you can click there and you can see the comparison of what they're getting. And then once you click continue, what's going to happen is it's going to take you right here. And okay. And it's going to take us to the due diligence checklist, right? So here we're going to answer all the questions. These are your due diligence questions. I'm going to go over them real quick. Was the taxpayer non-resident alien any part of the year? No. Is it a qualifying child for another person? Did you complete the return based on information that was provided reasonably to you? Did you interview them? Did you review the accurate information to make sure that they were eligible for these credits? Did any of the information appear to be incorrect? Did you satisfy the record retention requirement right here? So it says, in addition to your notes from the interview, list the documents. So always put what you have here, right? So we got driver's license. What? Oh. I can't spell right now. I'm just keep going back and forth. Driver's license, social security card. I can't spell. Birth certificates, bank statements, school records, and I asked several follow-up questions regarding the business and everything was answered properly. You can't put too much in here. Everything in here you put always just protects you. Then it's going to say, did you ask the taxpayer whether he or she could provide documentation? Yes, we did. Did you ask the taxpayer if they've ever been disallowed any credits or if they were reduced? Yep. Were any of them? Nope. Did you ask adequate questions to complete the 1040 Schedule C? Yes, we did. Is this child supposed to be a qualifying child for anyone else? No. Is the second one? No. Have you determined that the taxpayer is supposed to be able to claim the earned income credit for the number of children? Yes. Did you explain that he or she may not claim it if she has not lived with the child? Yes, we did. Did you explain that there are rules about the tiebreaker? Yes, if they apply, you explain them. Does the child reside? Yes. Does it live with his mom and dad or whoever's claiming it? Of course. Did you explain that they can't claim it if the taxpayer did not live with them? Did you explain the rules? Do you certify that all of these answers are true? And then once you complete this, you're going to click continue. And what's going to happen is it's going to bring you right here because it's going to determine your eligibility. Now, what I want to let everyone know is we always get calls because sometimes something over here is going to be in red. And it's going to say maybe the due diligence questions were answered wrong. Maybe the AGI is too high. 99 times out of 10, the AGI is too high for them to qualify for their earned income credits. So if you have a red box over here, that means that that person is not getting whatever credit this is based on either an answer being answered wrong, the AGI being too high. So make sure you double check everything, look at the AGI, make sure that they're within the limits to be able to get the earned income credit. Then you can put a miscellaneous statement in here. If you want to mark the statement private, you can as well. Then you'll click continue. And as you can see, we're brought to this return details page. From here, this is where you'll be able to select the return type. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our intake form, and I'm going to see what my client selected. So they selected that they want a check, and they selected that they wanted to apply for the cash advance. So I'm going to click on, now if you're with TPG, this will say TPG, but it'll still say check, direct deposit, it'll say advance, everything will be the same, just the TPG will say TPG instead of refund advantage. So next is going to ask me, do I want the up to 1,000 with no interest charged, or do I want the up to 6,000 with interest charged? Remember, with TPG, there is no interest option. Everything's interest. So we're going to say this. And then you're going to have a box if you have pre-acknowledgements. If your office is able to offer pre-acknowledgements, you'll have a box here that says, is this return a pre-acknowledgement? And that's where you decide. So remember again that you're able to select if you want your client to opt in for the pre-acknowledgement, or if you want and wait till they get accepted to do the end season. Then you'll be able to put in the taxpayer's email address, spouse's email address, and then you can click continue. Once you click continue, right here you'll be able to go in and edit your fees. Whatever your calculated prep fee is will be right here. You'll be able to adjust that up or down however you want. Then you'll also see right here that there is some fees that are on by default. If you are doing the pre-acknowledgement, if I want to add this on here, I can. If I want to take it off, I just click the X, take it off. If I want to put something back on, I can click right here where it says apply, and then it'll give me a list of whatever I need to apply or want to apply, and then I can opt in to use that. You can also create, depending on your security template, you can also create additional fees and discount under your configurations from your main menu when you log in the software. So once you've completed this page, you'll click continue. And this is where you want to put in the information, because this is for the bank app. So what you should click is import, and it'll fill everything out for you. Then you're going to go to the taxpayer's ID. What I always do is I either have my taxpayer's IDs in front of me, or I write down the information on this page. And so what I'm going to do is select the type, put in the number, the state. No, that don't work really well. Okay. The issue date. That don't work either. Really? This is so good. 1/4. Okay. And then the expiration date. Can you type? You can't type in this? Yes, I can. There's 12/21/2026. And then your citizenship, citizen, country, United States of America. Do the same thing for the spouse. Yeah, I can see. All right, the issue date is 06/25/2020. Oh shoot, 24/2018, and then 06/25/2027, and then same thing. Do you have the 7216? Yes. Do you want a text message to go to your client when the bank funding occurs? Now remember, your client's doing a check, doing direct deposit, or doing it on a card. This text message will go out once the funding hits. So if you're doing a check and the check is available to print at 1:00 a.m., your client's going to get a text message at 1:00 a.m. telling them that their check's ready, and then you're going to have a taxpayer calling you in the middle of the night saying, hey, man, my check's ready. I need to get my check. Where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? So use this as you see appropriate, however you want. Bank verification information, you have to put a security question here in case they need to call. Pick whatever you want. We're going to put Johnny here, and then whatever their answer is. Then you're going to click continue. Oh, what happened? What did I do? Where? Back? One more back. Sorry. Oh, I forgot to put something in here. Oh, taxpayer email. Let me put in an email. I'm going to put one right here, too. All right. Everybody's got an email now. Now we're going to click continue. And it will give you an error. It'll give you those little red errors. If you do something wrong, it'll tell you what the error is, and then just go back and fix it. What happened? Man, come on, really? This is baloney. See, this is real life, y'all. This is real life. This is how stuff works. Y'all ain't the only one that goes through this. Y'all ain't the only one that goes through this. I go through it too. So, we just got to go back and fill it out again. We're going to fill it out again. And then we're going to move on here. And then we're going to do the same for the wife. Oh, shoot. Wifey. And hers is right there. And then we're going to click on this. And then we're going to click here. And then we're going to say yes. And then, oh, the question's gone. Johnny's my oldest, even though he's not. And then we're going to click continue. And then it's going to save. And then we're going to go to this page. And then here, you'll be able to collect your client's signature like always. Edit signature. Taxpayer can sign. Let me show y'all how good I can do this. But I don't know how many years it took me to do this, but got it. All right. So your taxpayer won't be able to do it like that, but I can. Okay. So then when they got the little signature the way they want it, you can click save. If they need to redo it 1,000 times, just click, 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 clear every time. So once you got it, click save. You're done. Make sure that your spouse signs it. Spouse signs it. This is more what it usually looks like when they do it. Click save. There you go. Then from here, you'll be able to scroll down. If they were referred by somebody, you can put it in here. Add a new person if they refer somebody and they're not in your database. Here you can print the tax documents. You can select from a list of what you want to print out for the taxpayer. Here you can also email the tax return to them. Here you can invite the customer to the customer portal. You'll be able to send an email, or you can click text and it'll put in their phone number and it'll text them. You can also send the invite. Now, you need signature. You can click right here, send the document. That'll send the document for the signatures. So you can text message or you can email to send the invite. Now, next is this little screen right here. It's going to show you all the fees that are coming out of the return. It's going to show you what the total is. So make sure you're paying attention. Then you can add any return tags that you need right here. If you have tags in your office, if they're missing anything, you can put it here. And then if you're a feeder office and you've already uploaded your compliance documents, this is where you would mark it for review. If you're a preparer in someone else's office, this is where you would mark it for review for your compliance department to be able to review and approve the return. So once you're done, now remember, if you are a transmitter, you don't have to mark anything for review. You can just transmit the return from here. You will have a little blue box right here that says transmit. You can transmit it, but for everyone else, you save and exit or mark for ready for review. Now, once you're done, you save and exit, and then your return is complete. What I want to do is I want to just show you one more thing. I want to go in here and show you where you should upload your documents. If you haven't uploaded your documents, you'll save and exit. You'll come out right here. You can click on the tools drop down. You'll click on scan documents. And then from here, you'll be able to go to upload documents. And what you'll do is you'll grab the documents that you want to upload, and you can upload them one by one, or you can grab a bunch of them And then once you've uploaded all your intake documents for this client, you should have a green check by everything. If you have a red X by anything, that means the file was either too big or it was the wrong file type. So once you've uploaded everything, you'll click Save Uploaded Documents. As you can see here, everything is labeled clearly so you can tell without having to click on it what each document is. And then your review process will go easier. Everything will be reviewed. All your documents are saved here for up to 5 years. So this is easy for any office that wants to go paperless. All of your intake documents and compliance documents will always be in your client's files. You can always go back to them. So this is how you upload their compliance documents as well. Other than that, that's how you do a tax return. That's how you do a tax return.